Welcome back, cool cats and kittens. So when we last finished off, we were talking about the difference between the domain, the range, a relation, and a function. So domain, just our x values, range, our y values. So we know something is a function if specifically it passes that karate chop test. So in other words, it only crosses through once. If it fails the karate chop test, then it's just a relation. It's not a function. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to go through and I want you to have a go at some of these questions yourself. Okay, so I want you to pause the video. I want you to go through just like I've done with those worked examples, and I want you to make sure that you know how to do this. If this is something that you are not understanding, please make sure that you're popping that in that section in your weekly check-in that says questions that I still have or areas that I struggled with. I really need to know if this is something that you guys are having issues with, because again, everything's all digital nowadays. So I cannot see you in person. I cannot harass you in person to get you to, tell me that you don't know something. So please make sure that you're going through your weekly check-in if you do not understand something. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to jump into the meat and the guts of what this actual whole lesson is about. And this is the stuff that's kind of tricky. And I'll be honest with you guys, when I first learned about this, I didn't really understand. I didn't quite get what was going on. So my big tip is to put every single thing in brackets. That is my big tip. That makes it so much easier, right? All right, so as we sort of gone through earlier, so we have our input value x, we have our machine, and then we have our output value, which is y. Now, all we're going to do, instead of calling it y, we're going to call that value, our output, our function of x, okay? So f of x, function of x. So let's say we have the function y is equal to 4x plus 2. Instead of writing y is equal to 4x plus 2, all we're going to do is write f of x is equal to 4x plus 2. So f of x is now our machine, right? So we want to input a value into that machine. So we want to input the value x is equal to 2. So again, most important thing, whatever you are substituting, make sure you put it in the brackets. So I have substituted in 2 here. So whatever I'm putting in the brackets here is exactly the same thing I've got to put in the brackets here. And then we're going to get our value of our function. So the value of the function when x is equal to 2 is 10. Okay, so let's find the following outputs using the same function. So the first one is going to be at x is equal to -1. So we're going to use FSA, formula, substitute, answer. Okay, so our first one, we're just going to write our formula. So f of x is equal to 4x plus 2. And that's going to be the same function for every single one of these. All right, so now what it's asking us to do, it's asking us, when it's saying this, it's saying what is the value of the function when x is equal to -1? Okay, so in other words, we're going to substitute in -1. So the function, or the value of the function at x is equal to -1 is going to be equal to 4 times by -1. Again, see how everything, I've put it into brackets, really important. Okay, let's do some evaluating here. So -4 plus 2 is just going to be equal to -2. So the value of this function at -1 is going to be equal to -2. All right. Same thing with the next one. So again, we're always going to start off formula, and then we're going to substitute in our values, and then we're going to find our answer. Okay. So this time we're going to substitute in the value of 0 for x. So remember, anything that goes in this bracket here is going to be put in brackets in replacement of this x here. So 4 lots of 0 plus 2, we know 4 lots of 0 is 0. So then the value of the function when x is equal to 0 is going to be 2. So in other words, the output of the function is going to be 2. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of this stuff now so I have some space for myself. Okay, so the next couple of ones are a little bit trickier, because the next couple of ones, what we're actually going to be looking at is we're not substituting in a value anymore. So this is really where we start to enter the higher mathematics, right? I feel like the better you get at maths, the further that you move away from numbers. So we're going to actually substitute in x squared for x. Okay, so again, this is something I really struggled with, but the tip is make sure everything is in brackets and then expand and simplify and do all that business, okay? So starting off with our formula, so the value of the function at x is going to be equal to 4x plus 2, okay? So that means I'm substituting in x squared. So everywhere I see an x instead, in brackets, I'm going to put x squared. So again, brackets, okay, plus 2. So then this is going to be equal to 4x squared plus 2. So the value of the function at x squared is going to be equal to 4x squared plus 2. Okay, so it's a little bit trickier, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. All right, let's try this last one now. So the function, again, we're just going to start off with our formula. So formula, substitute, answer. So 4x plus 2. And this time for x, we're going to substitute in 4g plus 5. So remember, every single thing that's in this bracket here, we're going to substitute it in. And again, we're going to use brackets. We're going to substitute it in for x. So that's equal to 4g plus 5 plus 2. Okay? So expanding out using our distributive law, right? So making sure we're expanding to everything. Kyron, calling you out right now. Emma, calling you out right now. So that's going to be 16g plus 20 plus 2. Then we're going to collect our like terms. So we're going to get 16g plus 22. So the value of the function when x is equal to 4g plus 5 is going to be 16g plus 22. Okay, so those last ones are a little bit trickier. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to have a go. I want you to pause the video and then I'm going to go through those answers with you. All right, so I'm assuming you paused the video. I'm going to go through for this particular function. So we're going to start off with our formula. So f of x is equal to x squared plus 3. And what we're going to do, we're going to substitute in this value 2 everywhere we see an x. So f of 2 is equal to brackets 2 squared plus 3. So 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 3 is 7. So we're going to substitute in 7. All right, for B, the next one, we're substituting in 0.25 instead. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 0.25 squared plus 3. 0.25 squared is 0.0625 plus 3, so 0.0625 plus 3. So that's going to be equal to 3.0625. So let's write that in here. 3.0625. Whoops. All right. So the next couple, I might just do that there. So these are the tricky ones. So this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in the letter t. So everywhere we see an x, okay? So our original function, remember, was x squared plus 3. So I'm just going to put in brackets everywhere I see an x. I'm going to put a t now, plus 3. So ft is going to be equal to t squared plus 3. Okay, that one wasn't too bad. All right, and our last one, so again, this one we're going to put in, so 2x minus 1, so all of this in the brackets is going to go in brackets, so f of 2x take 1 is going to be equal to brackets 2x take 1 squared plus 3. Didn't give myself enough space there, did I? Now, 2x minus 1 squared, so we can expand this using the distributive law. So if you need to, you can write the double brackets. So 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1 plus 3. So let's expand those out. That's going to give me 4x squared. Oops, sorry, that should be minus 1, shouldn't it? Let's get that. Excuse me. There you go. That should be minus. All right, now let's try that again. Minus. Okay, so 4x squared minus 2x minus 2x, so that's going to be minus 4x plus 1 plus 3, and then we're going to collect our like terms. So that's going to give us 4x squared minus 4x plus 4. That's a nice one. We could factorize that out. Okay, so let's put that as our output now. So that's equal to 4x squared minus 4x plus 4. And that's it. That is our function notation for functions and relations. So again, this is the meaty stuff. This is the good stuff. This is the stuff that we're actually going to be using in class. So if you are someone who is still struggling with substituting in these values and you're not finding my, the bracket tip particularly helpful or whatever, please, please, please get in contact with me. Please put that on your weekly check-in so that I know, so we can go through and we can fix this. All right, I'll talk to you in our next lesson. See you soon, guys.